I could sum up for you in exactly 0 words what the issue usually is around use of animation and around most slide decks, right there. Most of the time, in corporate presentations, you are making your audience drink from the fire hose. You are giving them information too much at once. And when you do that, then it becomes more difficult for everybody, including, perhaps especially, yourself, because you have to work harder to tell your story. This client had a lot of information, and they certainly could have benefited from use of animation. So I'm going to start right here. And I'm going to explain to you that we're looking all about this implementation. And I'm not going to go any further until I'm comfortable that all of you are with me, at which point from this core comes all of these other things. And this is just imagery now. So you get some sense that there are all these wonderful byproducts of this implementation. And now we're going to go through them. And there's just absolutely nothing complicated about this at all. I mean, these are just clicks, these are just simple fades that come in, but I now have an opportunity to take you through this at a much better pace. And you have an opportunity to ingest and digest all of this. Just simple fades. You know, I almost don't care how you answer the question. The key is to ask yourself the question. How might I better tell this story if I sequence the information on this slide? There might be 50 different ways that you can do it, and all of them would be better than just dumping it all out there at once. I'm a big fan of separating structure from data. I think my audiences really get it better when I do that. And there's no better example than charts. Now, these aren't bad charts at all. But that's just too much. That's just too much all at once. You know, stories aren't told once upon a time they lived happily ever after. Stories have beginnings and middles and ends. And you want to give yourself the same opportunity. And here, the punchline's already up. And I'm going to have to work harder to direct your attention. You do not have to break apart a chart in order to animate. And I'm going to start right here. So this is the playing field. We're going to be looking at the status of claims at 6 months and at 12 months. First, we're going to look at closed claims. Next, quickly do that. And here's the big chunk right here, 56%. And watch how it's so different after 12 months. And maybe I determined that instead, the better way to tell this story is to first give you those two. We'll talk about those. Then we'll bring up these next two on the same clip. You, as the content creator, as the builder or the presenter, that's your privilege and responsibility. The best way to tell the story. And charts benefit, I should say, from animation more than just about anything. So this is the Southern California Transportation Board. And they've got huge issues with traffic, as you can imagine. And when they need to ask for more money, they wanted to bring the pain. Because, you know, we all know what traffic is like. We all know how bad it is. You know, if you've had to sit in traffic like this, you understand how important it is for road conditions. You can see what's happening here behind me, right? This is a 40-second animation here. I need to make sure I've got 40 seconds of important things to say, because otherwise you're looking at it, I'm looking at it, we're all looking at it, the effect is lost. But as the backdrop for me telling you about the pain of traffic and road improvement, this is huge. I want to leave this up as long as possible. So for 40 seconds, you just see more and more congestion. And when it comes time for me to give you the actual data, I'm going to draw that chart right here. So a semi-transparent shape just to give me some contrast. There it is in 2008. There's news, and here's the bad news, folks. You know, so we really need to improve our roads. You know, charts don't have to be complicated. You know, these are squares, these are rectangles and ellipses. Oftentimes a chart is simply, proportional data. You know, what's more, this or that? You know, so you don't really need to go to the charting engine all the time. Sometimes it's simpler, it's better. When you use animation properly like this, you become more confident. And confidence is a transferable commodity. When you appear more confident about the way you use the technology, You will appear more confident about delivering your message. And there's no better example of this than the late Steve Jobs, who would prepare so meticulously and was just supremely confident on that stage in front of thousands and thousands of his users. And that confidence came in part because he was so comfortable with his technology. The second one is even more powerful, and that's trust. You know, think about it. Essentially, what I'm telling you as the presenter who uses animation properly, and saying, look, I know that you've all been abused by presenters that give you the spirals and the boomerangs and the flies and all of that. I know that they make you drink from the fire hose, you've got eye fatigue, all the rest. I'm not going to do that to you. I've thought about it. I think I know the right way to give you this information. I'm not going to make you drink from the fire hose. You can sit back and relax. You can trust me. Trust is a transferable commodity also. When your audience feels like it can trust you with the way you use the software, they are going to be more likely to trust you with your message. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the promised land. That's why we are up here, because we want our audience to feel the weight of our message. People don't make decisions based on what they think. They make decisions because it feels right to them. Well, how ironic that this tool that is the object of such derision, animation, is also the one that can really get us to that place where we can be connecting emotionally with our audience. And I think trust is the most powerful emotion of all. So again, how interesting it is that using animation properly is what can get you there to that promised land.